Sergeant NKOSI has just been branded one of the most corrupt police officers in the country. And his secret WhatsApp messages manipulating investigations to protect ruthless cartels have just been blown wide open on live television. Advocate Adv Chaskalson just took the floor at the Madlanga Commission and exposed the absolute rot inside the system, revealing how dirty cops and underworld figures manipulate police dockets, protect criminals, and loot the state from the shadows. The evidence laid bare before the commission is staggering, from exposed text messages showing how the late taxi boss Jothan King Mswazi Msibi rigged an Ekurhuleni transport tender before it was even advertised, to criminals using high-tech signal jammers to disrupt state tracking systems. The depth of this criminal network is breathtaking. Chaskalson revealed how syndicate figures traveled to Europe, pretending to represent the state, operated illicit dagga projects, and pulled strings behind the scenes with top officials. And then came the massive financial bombshell dragging the Karim joint venture into the spotlight over an astonishing R335 million claim against the Northwest Province. While dirty cops manipulate investigations to protect the underworld, we expose the raw truth. If you want corrupt officers like Sergeant NKOSI and these cartel syndicates locked up behind bars for good, drop a comment right now saying, "Jail corrupt cops." Hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and share this video everywhere before they try to bury this. Let's dive straight into the courtroom to see these explosive messages exposed. Jabulani, roll the tape.
So Infosys is advertising its capacity to intercept mobile phone communications from the ground, from the sea, from the air. And if we go back...
Before we go back, I thought you were going to show us where Sergeant NKOSI signs and stamps. Okay.
He does in due course sign, but if we go back, it's quite clear in this context that the Czech Republic, having a sense of responsibility in relation to this technology, will not let its companies sell it to anyone they want. It can only be sold to authorized representatives, presumably not just of foreign states, but also of foreign states with whom the Czech Republic is happy to share this sort of technology. If we go back first to the chats with Mr. Msibi, on page 97, we see Sergeant NKOSI shares that draft letter immediately with Mr. Msibi. That's at 8:37 p.m., chat number 2. That's the draft. Mr. Msibi responds to him, "That's okay." If we go back to 119, we see Mr. Jacobs sending in chat number 1, sends the address at which the demo is going to take place. And in chat number 2, still on the 9th of February at 10:24 p.m., 10:24:29, just remember the 29 for later reference, Sergeant NKOSI returns the signed document. We'll look at the signed document in a minute. But 10:24:29 was when he returned it to Mr. Jacobs. If we go back to page 97, we see 2 seconds later he forwards it to Mr. Msibi, 10:24:31. That letter itself appears at page 130. And it is identical to the draft, except that Sergeant NKOSI has now signed it, given his force number, and put a SAPS stamp on it. So Sergeant NKOSI has represented to the Czech government that that Infosys will be demonstrating to the South African police, and that for this reason Infosys should be allowed to do so. And we have a situation where a European dealer, and we will look at what we suspect was being sold here. But a dealer in high-tech security surveillance equipment and the like is being told that Mr. Msibi and somebody else represent a state. There is then on the 16th of May a series of itineraries, additional itineraries and changes, none of which are of consequence for us. But the next step, and bear in mind this is 16 May where the 15-16 May, the original itinerary related to a trip from 16th to 18th May. If we then go to page 185, we're now dealing with the chats between Mr. Molefe, not Mr. Motsumi, but Mr. Molefe and Mr. Msibi. And at page 185, we see that on the 4th of June, Mr. Molefe, in other words, that's about just over 2 weeks after the proposed return from Zurich, from Europe, Hamburg via Zurich. Mr. Molefe forwards to Mr. Msibi in chat number 5 a quotation. And that quotation, we see at page 193. Mr. Msibi, Mr. Motsumi, Mr. Molefe, and possibly Sergeant Nkosi are involved, well, Sergeant Nkosi is certainly involved with Mr. Msibi in one project. Mr. Msibi, Mr. Motsumi, and Mr. Molefe are involved in another. The extent to which Mr. Motsumi and Mr. Molefe were involved in the first project is not clear. Anyway, they're involved in a commercial project. The commercial project involves the selling of high-tech surveillance, digital surveillance systems and jamming technology. The three people we're talking about have received some coverage in this commission. Mr. Msibi has been described by General Khumalo, as the head of crime intelligence, as the then leader of the Big Five organized crime cartel. Mr. Molefe is currently on trial for murder in a matter involving firearms that can be linked to more than 30 other murder scenes in Gauteng in the last 5 years. Mr. Motsumi is someone whose name General Sonona, when he was still head of the Hawks, was too scared to mention. These three men are dealing with foreign companies to get access to grabber technology purporting to represent a state. And then, at least in the case of Mr. Msibi, they seem to be looking to sell that technology to the Eswatini government. In that first episode, the first case that we saw. Whether or they didn't manage, it seems, in that case, to sell to the Eswatini government, they may well have managed in this case. We just don't know.
Do what a grabber, how a grabber would work. A jammer would do what? Would at least
block communications.
For criminal activity.
Well, I mean, at a very low level, a jammer stops your remote control on your car from locking your car when you get out the car. So a lot of small-time criminals have access to jammers which are used, and I'm sure some of us have had that experience. You get out your car, you think you've locked it, you haven't locked it because the signal's been jammed and someone steals something from your car while you've gone into the shop. At a much more grand scale, what a jammer can do is block communications, can stop people communicating on their cell phones. It essentially can block communication that depends on operating at particular frequencies.
It could block law enforcement from listening in.
Certainly on, yeah.
Thank you.
No, please continue, Mr. Chaskalson.
Chair, it looks like you have been the victim of a small-scale jammer. I have too. 29th of May, Mr. Msibi wants to be called back. And the next development is the 13th of June, and that's on page 143. And there, Mr. Nxumalo sends to Mr. Msibi a WhatsApp in chat number 3 at 8:43 in the morning, which forwards the tender advertisement for this project management unit that Mr. Msibi wanted for Camprock. And if we go to page 149, we see what was forwarded. And I must immediately just emphasize that what was actually forwarded was the entire bid invitation that ran to probably over 100 pages. So just to simplify the bundle, I just included the cover page. But there you see Transport and Fleet Management Department, contract number PSPT 17 of 2023, the provision of project management unit and technical services for the Department of the City of Ekurhuleni Integrated Rapid Public Transport Network from date of award until 30 June 2026. So if we go back to that opening chat in April, we see that what Mr. Msibi had said to Mr. Nxumalo is Camprock Pty Limited, project management unit for BRT project, PMU contract funded by the National Department of Transport through the City of Ekurhuleni. PMU contract is under the Department of Transport and Fleet Management in the city. So as early as April, Mr. Msibi had identified that this contract should be put out to tender by Ekurhuleni for the benefit of Camprock. Paragraph 2.4 of the notice reads, "This one isn't a panel. Is it spoken for? I have two people asking." It appears that item number 3 of the extract attached to the notice is Annexure B, dated 13 June 2023 at 8:43, and is accompanied by an image of the document. The document appears to be the bid document for contract PSPT 1723 issued by the Transport and Fleet Management Department of the City of Ekurhuleni for the provision of a project management unit and technical services for the development of the City of Ekurhuleni Integrated Rapid Public Transport Network. A copy is attached here to as ZN2. Thus far, Mr. Nxumalo has told us nothing other than what we told him. I identified the contract by conducting an internet search of the contract number for the purpose of preparing the statement. I had no independent knowledge of it, he says. Well, he emailed that bid invitation to Mr. Msibi on that day. I have no recollection of the circumstances in which it came to be sent, and I'm accordingly unable to identify the person to whom the words were originally addressed or from whom I may have received them. If this message is true, if the statement is true, it is truly staggering that Mr. Nxumalo is dealing with people who send messages purporting to rig tenders on such a frequent basis that he can't remember this one. 17, I record for the Commission's assistance that item 3 of the extract is marked incoming, whereas the notice proceeds on the basis that I wrote those words and forwarded the message to the late Mr. Msibi. It was incoming for Mr. Msibi. I do not believe that this proposition is correct. If the message illustrates that it had been forwarded to the late Mr. Msibi, then it would be on the basis that I had received the message with the aforesaid question and thereafter forwarded the same to the late Mr. Msibi. So he says, well, maybe somebody else wrote those words, but I forwarded them to Mr. Msibi. Additionally, I dispute I was the author of the aforesaid message, as it's not my manner of typing. I do not use abbreviations such as PPL in the normal course. As indicated, I cannot determine with certainty who would have sent me the aforesaid message and the context in which this would have been shared with me or the late Mr. Msibi. However, given the prominent role of the late Mr. Msibi in the public transport industry, together with my involvement in brokering transactions within and for the taxi industry, I would have shared the document with him so as to inquire as whether he'd be interested in the bid. For the sake of completeness, I record I had no involvement in the bidding or award process of the aforesaid contract by the city of Ekurhuleni. So he is claiming ignorance. He can't really explain why he would have forwarded a document to Mr. Msibi that, on its face, assumes that tenders in Ekurhuleni are spoken for before they are awarded. While the Camproc bid is pending, if we go to page 92, we see that at chat number 4, on 23 September 2023, and remember the bid was awarded in November and Mr. Msibi had identified it in April, on the 23rd of September, chat number 4, Mr. Motsumi sends a contact card to Mr. Msibi, and that contact card is at page 93. And again, just check that it's redacted. Okay. It's the contact card for Ms. Mashazi, who was then the city manager of Ekurhuleni and who has appeared before this commission and whose connection with Mr. Msibi was previously unknown. Having received the contact card for Mr. Msibi, for Ms. Mashazi, Mr. Msibi then on the 25th of September called her. That's at page 26. And these are the chats between Mr. Msibi and Ms. Mashazi. And at the top of page 26, you'll see there was a call on the 25th of September at 12:53, to which Ms. Mashazi responded, "Thanks, Baba," at 12:59, and Mr. Msibi said, "Cool, Sesi," at 1 o'clock. Obviously, we don't know what that call was about. There is another issue where we were hoping to get some clarity from Mr. Nxumalo, which happened while this bid was pending. That is to be found at page 143, closed at 4 p.m. We've locked the trade, so she will receive 46,256 euros and 98. I'm not sure whether it's cents or centimes that are the cents for the euro. Now that's just under R1 million. We did do the exchange rate there, and it was roughly 18 rands to the euro. So this came in at just under R1 million. And Mr. Msibi responded, "You're the best, my boy." We were curious as to who was getting this payment in euros, so we asked Mr. Nxumalo, and that question is at page 170.
170.
170. Where we asked for the full details of the person whom you refer to as she in your WhatsApp message to the late Mr. Msibi on 19 August 2023 at 10:26 when you stated Eurobanks closed at 4 p.m. We've locked the trade, so she will receive 46,256.98 first thing on Monday, which message also appears in the extract of WhatsApp chats between yourself and the late Mr. Msibi, which was attached to our notice. Unfortunately, if not unsurprisingly, Mr. Nxumalo couldn't help us. His answer was at page 177. Paragraph 21. The message referred to in paragraph 2.5 reads, Eurobanks closed at 4 p.m. We've locked the trade, so she will receive 46,256.98 first thing on Monday. It appears that item 6 of the extract dated 16 August 2023 and is likewise marked incoming. I have no recollection of this message, of the trade to which it refers, or of the person referred to as she. I'm accordingly unable to furnish the details sought in paragraph 2.5 or 2.6. At best, I simply recall that the late Mr. Msibi had dealings in foreign countries, the intricate details of which, however, I have no personal knowledge. Should the Commission be in possession of further material relating to this message, including any further portion of the chat extract, I request it be furnished to me, and I undertake to supplement this statement promptly upon receiving it. That proof of payment at 313 is a payment of 700,000 rands from transnational coach lines to Santaco, the South African National Taxi Association. And if we go back to page 277, we see in chat 3 that the sender is saying, now I'm waiting for the 300,000. So the payment should have been $1 million, but it was 300,000 short. And the explanation that comes is furnished in chat number 5, where what is forwarded to Mr. Msibi is the document at page 314, which is that Northwest Transport Investments and Northwest Star, who are the Northwest bus companies who are using buses rented to it by the joint venture between Transnational and Mr. Karim Ziggy Investments, are in arrears. They're not paying the joint venture, and so the joint venture is short on paying Mr. Msibi. And if we read this...
Cheskalson, when you say paying Mr. Msibi, you mean Santaco?
Santaco. Okay. Although at a later stage, it may be Mr. Msibi. We'll get to the later payments. At a later stage, what we see is quite extraordinary. The joint venture claims in paragraph 3 that the Northwest companies are indebted to it in an amount of 335 million. So this is a huge amount that Mr. Karim's joint venture is owed, or allegedly owed, by the Northwest. This issue in relation to payments drags on. And so at 279, we see a screenshot at the top. And the screenshot is a chat between the sender, who we have not yet identified, and Mr. Suleiman Paruk, who is saved as Sol Paruk. And there, the account that is given, well, what the screenshot says is, Sol, Msibi accountant is asking whether we paid his money, and now it's the accountant of Mr. Msibi is asking whether we, who is the sender, and Mr. Paruk have paid Mr. Msibi's money, and the address that is given is Tukofan Pty Limited.
Sorry, Mr. Chaskalson, maybe I missed it. You referred us to the screen grab, but you did not refer us to the pages.
Oh, sorry, 316. 316.
Oh, thank you, thank you. Please continue.
So that is an account is given for Tukofin Pty Limited who must be paid. If we go to page 352, we see the win deed for Tukofin, and there we see that Tukofin was a company in respect of which Mr. Msibi himself was a director. But he is listed as deceased, and so he's no longer a director. But if we go down to page 353, we see that he was a director until 2024. So at the time of this correspondence, he was a director of Tukofin. A series of chats between Mr. Msibi and a different Shaun. And this is a Shaun who was involved in what appears to be a dagga-growing project of Mr. Msibi. And those chats start at page 222. And just to contextualize, this dagga-growing project took place in factory premises in Germiston, and the company involved was called Jack Frost Pharmaceuticals. The chats which I would start with are at page 225. And there, Shaun writes to Mr. Msibi saying the following: "Afternoon, Chief. I know you're dealing with a lot and this is minor rubbish. But if you could get a chance, please send 2 of your guys to Germiston for me. I will meet them and point out who needs to be spoken to. My grow team is still getting watched. I can use my Congo guys, but I know your guys will create more fear in these people. Thanks, my brother." And so Shaun seems to be saying he's worried that there are people snooping around his premises where he is growing his dagga, and he needs Mr. Msibi to send some people round essentially to scare them. Mr. Msibi says, "We'll deal with it, please, don't worry." We then, through the chats, get a sort of blow-by-blow account of the growth of the project. And so if we start at foot of 276, we see the beginnings of the growth in that little screenshot at the foot of page 276. The picture itself is at page 257.
267 maybe? You said 276.
Sorry. 226. 226. And the picture that is sent, you'll see in full at page 257. And then if we go back to 225 and just scroll down, what is happening is that each week, Shaun is sending updated photos so that the growth can be seen by Mr. Msibi. And it goes on, and the growth is quite spectacular. It reaches a point where Shaun is able to send, I mean, if we go down to 233, for instance, and maybe if we look at the video at the top of page 236, which is 13th of March,